Hello, Karen here, Soul Symbols. I'm here to do you a tarot read on the full moon that is on the 3rd of January. So these two cards here I pulled to confirm the messages I had from Spirit, and boy, did they confirm. Okay, so we have the Queen. The Queen is about the embodiment of power. It's about moving in your own sovereignty. It's not about waiting for anybody else. It's about taking leadership, okay? And it's also about not waiting for your king, your prince to arrive, okay? It's about making yourself ready to have a fully fledged, fully embodied king. So that queen energy is what we're working with as we move into this new year. And then we had the river. Okay, now this is interesting. It's about flow. It's about getting in the current of what is going on. But what I found extremely interesting here was the reflection of the horse. February is Chinese New Year, and it is the year of the fire horse. Okay, I saw another reader have, I don't think it was this card, but she had a card with the horse on. So there's that sense that this is going to figure strongly. The fire hat horse is passion, vision, it's strength, it's power, it's speed. Okay, so that current, that flow, whatever you get into or you have gotten into, may be carrying you really fast. Now, the Queen with that serpent of transformation, serpent of wisdom there, and the lotus, okay, fully open lotus, that is what I saw in the messages, but it was a tattoo around a woman's wrist. So there's a sense of opening out up to that transformation. Now that new moon happens in Sagittarius, so we have the fruit of that new moon now. Okay, and it's not only the new moon 2 weeks ago, it's the new moon on the 25th of June, 6 months ago, that we are seeing the fruit from. So I'm going to have a look here. I'm going to have a look at what fruit is coming, what your struggle is, and what the outcome can be if you move with spirit. The full message I'm going to pop because I've recorded it when it was fresh, but it's about 9 minutes long. So I'm going to pop it at the end of the video if you want to hear the full messages. Okay, so let's pull some cards here. So we've got the fruit, the struggle you've had, and the outcome. Okay, well, that's beautiful. The fruit is the joyful muse. Really reminds me of Jupiter. This, it's the muse is in inspiration. So this is your fruit. Whatever you set in motion, either in June 6 months ago or in Sagittarius, it is bringing you inspiration, which is making you joyful. Okay, the muses were there to inspire. The challenge you've had is deep diving. Okay, the deep diving, the diving into the task. And part of the message that I had was about a monotony, a rigidity. It was about taxing your nervous system and taxing yourself physically. Yeah, particularly in spiritual endeavors, because it was a Buddha in what's funny, a lotus position. There's the lotus, but he was jumping about on one leg. Okay, so, so he was kind of forcing the enlightenment, maybe forcing the inspiration. Maybe that inspiration's come and you're not seeing it because you're still in that rigid mechanical work mode. And the outcome for you, okay, hollow bone. This is a beautiful, beautiful card. It's about teachability. So sometimes those struggles that we're having, sometimes the actual struggling, the deep diving, the attempts to make things work, force things to work, instead of reflecting and getting into the current of the water, okay, moving with the flow. Yeah, but it can bring lessons, bring wisdom, and it can make us teachable. Shamanic people, indigenous people, they use bones to craft their pipes to make music. So we got this music here. So there may be some of you here who've actually been working with music. You've been doing musical projects. You've been writing songs or perhaps poetry. Um, yeah. So open up to all that, people. What am I going to do now? Right. Okay, we're going to have a look at the Sacred Rebels. The Sacred Rebel. I really love that music. Yeah, so open up to inspiration. The fruit that you've grown, even if it's been challenging, don't focus on the challenge. If you haven't got, again, the messages, I saw a building that was like the Mediterranean buildings, covered in these stunning shells, but the structure was up, but it wasn't functioning, okay, because all the plastering, all the work inside, the plumbing, the electricity hadn't been done, but the structure's there. So even if you haven't got where you expected to get, okay, don't keep pushing the task. Take some time out. We're in New Year, so take some time out and really reflect. I done this, and I was like, oh wow, oh wow, what I've achieved over the time I've started a project. So reflect on your work in terms of not where you expected to be now. That might be a challenge. You may have been exhausting your nervous system, exhausting yourself physically by trying to get these things done. You may be putting pressure on your spiritual life or on your relationships, your family relationships. That structure was a home. It may be you've been building a home or you've been moving in with someone. So really open up to looking at how far and having kind of that gratitude. Okay, so with the fruit of the joyful mode, yeah, look, you've had a big, bold, a big bold, sorry, a big, bold vision. Okay, so go if this work has become mechanical to you, okay, go back to the initial inspiration of why you started it. This is beautiful. There's a hive, people. Okay, it's a huge vision, and there, even if the vision is not, fully furnished and got its electricity and its water in it and everything's functioning properly, there is a sense that the hive's being built. Okay, that's the hive. So the hive's being built. It's joyful. Go back to the joy you felt when you were inspired to do something, whether it's spiritual work, relational work, um, or work, your career and vocation, or a project, whatever it is. Go back to the initial. If you feel mechanical, go back to the initial thing. Now, if it's a home and a relationship, the picture of the structure covered in shells and not fully functional also had a couple standing out with two children around 7 and 10, and they had the sense that they'd made a decision or they were making a decision. So it could be the struggle, that deep diving you've been trying to work with, things like, the practicalities of life, that, our dream of having a house or anything can become very dry, extremely dry and rigid and mechanical, and we can lose that initial inspiration because of all the details, the mortgage, buying the things, getting the electricians in. All those mundane things can dry out the vision. So the advice here is to go back to that big, bold vision you had and find the joy in the inspiration that you initially had. So this challenge, the deep diving, and with the Queen, this is about finding your power. Find your Queen. It does remind me of that message I had back. I don't know if I've mentioned it already, but back some time ago, I'll link it up there, about finding your Queen. It was about the dark goddess dancing in fire, funny enough. Didn't know at the time it was the year of fire. So go back to that joy, get your sovereignty back. Get your vision back, get your joy of that inspiration, this challenge, this deep diving, this dryness. Yeah, look, follow your own rhythm. And we've got these, they look like hives again. They look like the hexagons of the hive. Find your own rhythm. If the task of doing something, if it's starting a business, if it's your spiritual life, the task of discipline, of the mundane, okay, can take you away from your rhythm. You can think, I've got to get this done, I've got to get that done, I can't wait, it must be done. No, go back to your own rhythm. This is a moon read. So it is about the challenge of following the moon, and the moon is rhythm. She is that change. Our bodies change. We're very much fixed now in, corporate land, so everything is around that, whereas, ancient people, it used to be about the rhythm of life, the rhythm of when the sun rose and went down. And for women, it was often about the rhythm of their body when they took rest. When they're menstruating, they would take rest. They would allow that period of time of reflection. So follow the rhythm. If there's that rigidity, if you've lost your inspiration and your joy of that original vision, check in with your body. The messages that came through were about a rigidity. Part of your power is moving in your own rhythm, male or female, it doesn't matter. It's that rhythm of the moon. This is the fullness. This is where the challenge and the struggle's been. Diving into a task, and the answer for you is to follow your own rhythm, not to be pushed by goals, tasks. They're all good to have, but when we lose our own rhythm, when we become rigid, mechanical, because we're dancing to somebody else's tune, you know, not it's joyful muses, inspirational tune. And the outcome, we have teachability. Again, this is about there's an instrument made of bones there. Okay, I'm gonna read that actually because I think that is really important, this hollow bones. So I'm just going to have a little scoot through the book. Yeah, teachability, humility, being empty so that the wind of spirit can breathe through you. Yeah, I knew there was more to this than that. Yeah, it's that inspiration, that joyful muse. It's joyful because it's coming from spirit. So the hollow wing bone of an eagle is a flute for the shaman. The appearance of the hollow bone invites you to become empty of your own notions of who you are, to check your ego at the door, and to know it's not about you. Relinquish your need to be. Well, it's a bit harsh, but sometimes we get strictness from spirit in that sense. Relinquish your need to be right and to express an opinion, as this will not change anything right now. You're being called to practice humility. Hollow yourself out and hear the wind blow through you and play you like a flute. So you'll learn the language of the squall and the storm and understand the message in the summer breeze. There's an important communication waiting for you. Humility is the swiftest path for you to come back, like the hollow bone. Drop all notions and titles that bolster your ego. Eliminate the doer, that diving deep into the task, and allow things to happen of their own accord. Yeah, I'm not going to read any more of that. But the bottom line is, people, this is like that river. It's going with the flow. It's moving with the rhythm of your own body. Our bodies tell us so much. Our intuition comes from our bodies. Okay, so this is the outcome. Yeah, look. Oh, free from judgment, free to love. This outcome is this emptying yourself out, allowing the wind to play you like a flute, going with your rhythm. And, tapping into our physical rhythms can often tell us when something is off. Okay. And that message about the nervous system and the mechanical nature, I mean, go listen to the messages in there full. So the free from judgment, free to love, is that stopping the judgment of yourself, stop having that goal that you are running yourself into the ground, where you're ignoring the rhythms of your body, what your body's telling you. You've lost that joy, and the that you had with that initial vision and inspiration. Become free from judgment and free to love. I'm going to pull some tarot just to have a look. Oh, yeah, look at that. King of Wands on that vision. He's such a visionary leader. This is what you're being asked for. Yeah, there needs to be, I mean, New Year's Day I'm reading here. This is the sum of all potential. Okay, it's the seed of potential. So look at where the challenge is for you in whatever you're doing there. Okay, let's pull it. Yeah, look, then the sun's going to rise for you. Okay, you're going to be played. I hope not played like that, but you're going to be played like a flute. The wind, spirit is going to play through you. Okay, and you'll be able to return to that sort of childlike inspiration. I mean, look at this at the beginning. Both of them remind of childhood and freedom and, that shining quality. So you can go back to that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Let's pull a moon card to finish us off. It is lovely. And I've got the significator cards here, which is Capricorn, where the sun is, the devil. There's a lot going on there. I'll put the astrology videos at the end if you want to have a look. And the chariot. It's the devil winning chariot. Ow, that candle's hot. So there's that sense of, this full moon, which is on that Capricorn Cancer axis, is asking us, the moon is asking us to nurture ourselves. The moon is asking us to nourish, to have that sense of comfort and home. And sometimes the work that we do, whether it's spiritual or in a relationship, can drain us. There needs to be a new start there so that more movement can come from that chariot. And, the devil is about temptation. So we can have this hollow bone spoke about dropping any, ego. Maybe our goals are not set on what spirit is wanting for us, but set on how we want to be perceived. I mean, that's a little bit difficult to digest, but it's sometimes that very thing that is so deeply helpful for us. But you've got some beautiful fruit here. I mean, here's the fruit. That's the fruit. Whatever has been made or where you've come to since either 2 weeks ago or the long-term cycle, it's a huge vision and it's joy and inspiration. That's your fruit. Maybe the work has stopped you seeing how beautiful and how far you've come. So begin again in that sense. Right. Let's have a look at some moon cards. Darkness. Okay. So this is the long night moon. This is where the moon is dark before a new moon. Okay. So I'm thinking this vision here with the King of Wands, he's the King of Fire, a vision of passion. But maybe that passion has driven you too hard, too harsh. So before the next new moon, so from about the 15th of January, we enter that dark moon phase. So maybe allow your vision to reseed at that time, okay? That allow it to reseed, allow the muse to speak in your ear, allow the spirit to speak in your ear, your guides, okay, to reignite that vision. The challenge is there for your growth. Okay, this is a waning crescent. So again, on the lead up to the dark moon, challenge. That challenge is for your growth. Okay, and that will give you a new start. And even if we got one vision, they always are dovetailing into hundreds of other visions we've had through our lives. Every part of our lives they dovetail into, and they make up the whole picture of our collective within our family, our community, and globally. So we are part of something bigger, and we are growing. And one of the biggest things that we need to do is soul growth that way. So your outcome. Oh my goodness, look at this. You can't make these out. The outcome you've got is sovereignty. That is Queen of the Moon. Okay. Queen of the Moon, people. This read feels finished here. Okay, and you've got Queen of the Moon with the sun and the moon. So flow, people, flow, get in the river, flow. Allow the current to take you, allow the wind to play the tune, allow the inspiration to come back up, allow a vision to reignite. Even if at that dark moon, this vision you've been working on goes back into the earth, the cycle ends. A new one will arise, okay? A new one will arise. I mean, it's beautiful. I always think the cards speak so beautifully to us. So have a good new moon, have a good rest, allow the things that need to die, pick your fruit, enjoy it, eat it with gratitude. Don't look at your goals all the time, look at what you've built, the beautiful structure that you've built. Okay, lots of love to you all. The message will follow this. You can either switch off or watch the message. It will be a good thing for me to look at whether people drop off at the message. Because I'll know whether to bring it like directly. Okay. Lots of love to you. Bye bye. I'll see you in the next one.
Happy New Year to you all from Karen here at Soul Symbols. I'm bringing some messages here. The cards you see in front of you, I'm recording this before I do the actual read while it's all still fresh. The cards you see before you are the confirmation cards I pulled after the messages. If you want to skip straight to the tarot reading, then there's a timestamp below. But I'll be doing the reading based on spirit messages. So this is for the full moon, 3rd of January. I'm recording on New Year's Day. Okay, so the messages that I got, it feels as though someone has been building something. Maybe a relationship, a family, a home, career, project, business, or your inner life. But there's a sense of you having been working very hard, and that work's become tedious, mechanical, and there's a lack of flow. And spirit is asking you not to look at how far you have to go, but to just flip your perspective and move back into your own flow, your own gifts and intuition. Okay, and that was off the back of seeing a woman with long brown hair, and she was reaching into a water butt. So it's where water's collected. But she was trying to reach the flow of the water, which can't really be found in the water butt. Spirit's saying it's a matter of power. Okay, I saw the magician, and the magician had his wand for his spells, for his magic. Then he was kneeling with his sword like a knight about to be knighted, and then using his pentacle to pay for elixir in a goblet in the cup. And there was a sense of him investing the material, so time, energy, hard work, money, anything material, your physical energy, into the flow, into the water. Okay, so it's a matter of power. It's looking, this is what I got from it. It's a looking with gratitude at what you've achieved. And we're talking about the full moon here. So it's the fruit of the cycle from the new moon in Sagittarius 2 weeks ago, but it's also the fruit from the 25th of June 2025, 6 months ago, there was a new moon there in Cancer. So it's the fruit of that. So look at your intentions and where you've got to them. And Spirit really impressed on me that it was looking with gratitude at what you've achieved, even if it's not functional or roadworthy yet. Don't allow the work to become mechanical and rigid. Acknowledge that it's flowing. And turn your attention to the structure that has been built so far. The foundations, the structure, it's beautiful, even if it's not fully functional as yet. And with that, that message came from seeing a building, the buildings that you often see in the Mediterranean, and they're just shells of houses and villas, okay, but it was covered in the most beautiful shells, again, reference to the water, the ocean, the sea, the flow, and the sense that something is being created, okay, so that it's functional, but it's not yet functional, but the structure's there, the shell of the building is there, okay. And outside I saw a 10-year-old girl and a boy throwing a ball. Okay, so it's that sense of family. So this could be for those of you who are building a family or building a home. And I saw a man and a woman, and they've done something decisive. And as made that decision, a room opened up. Okay, it became functional. So it may be that there is an important decision you need to make. Okay, but their Spirit was saying there is a gift or inner power that you're overlooking, in the sense that you need to relax into the flow of who you are and what resides within you, and that you started with a dream, an imagination, a vision, an intention, a hope for the future. Spirit's asking, find the flow again. Let go of whatever it is that makes your work appear rigid, mechanical, and takes a toll on your nervous system or causes stress and anxiety. There's another way of looking at it. Flip that perspective. And I saw this could also be to do with spiritual work, because I saw somebody was telling me about their nervous system. They were unhappy about how their nervous system was. And then I saw someone in a Buddha pose. They were quite heavily built and they were hopping on one leg. And I saw a robot at the same time. So there's that sense of trying to achieve from force or pressure. Under pressure, okay, go back to that original intention, find that excitement, find that vision, find the flow. There's a need to remember, and the moon is about remember. So look at the fruit. Is it beautiful, ripe fruit, or there will be some fruit that needs to drop and refertilize, okay? But it's that sense of bringing something that was birthed inside of you spiritually. That is part of who you are, your journey, your destiny. So surrender back into where this started, heart motivation and intention you began with. Look at the fruit and appreciate what's grown, even if you're not where you expected to be when you started. You feel a beautiful organic structure, because that building was a shell of a building, but it was also covered in the most beautiful shells. So it's beautiful, it's organic. So allow the fruit that isn't good enough to eat to drop and fertilize. The things that are causing you stress physically, they were there to bring the wisdom. And there's a decision that you will make wholeheartedly with a partner, and that can be intimate or a business partner or friends, someone who's got something to do with what you are building, and it will open up a functional room in that shell of the building. Part of your work would take off after that decision. And this could be an inner decision to do with a balancing of that sacred masculine and feminine, the outer and inner action on a spiritual level. And psychologically, it's receiving, the Jungian, receiving the anima, and the animus, the sacred masculine and feminine, okay, bringing that alchemy, bringing the two together. This work, whether it's inner or it's in the material, was inspired. It came from the ether. It's divinely inspired. So Spirit is asking you to return to the original source of the inspiration. It's part of the greater good. It's untying others. I saw a woman untying a man who was in a yucky hut, and he was restrained, and she untied him. So it may be that you need to untie that sacred masculine within you, that passion, that outward action. Okay. So it's untying others. This work is not only untying yourself, it will be untying others, physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually. It's bringing an exchange of energy. Okay. And for that, I saw a screen, and there was an energy that pulsated in my heart. It pulsated very hard. It's powerful. There's a sense of finding your inner magician. And I had seen as well, and why these cards really confirmed the messages I got. I had seen lemniscate, a tattoo, the eternity symbol, and also on somebody's heart. And that's where I felt the energy exchange through a screen. You might be doing camera work or working online somehow. But yeah, and the tattoo of the snake on the wrist, and in this queen card, there's an actual snake there. So it's that sense of the imaginal, the image of what you want becoming a possibility. Okay. Yeah. So it's very beautiful, and I will read the meaning of the cards as I do the tarot read. See you in a minute.